Fonzie after 5. Hello and welcome back to Fonzie After 5, my ode to late night 90s call-in radio with a holiday twist. My guest today hardly needs an introduction, but guess what? She's gonna get one anyway. Today I have with me Jamie Barton. Welcome, Jamie.
Jamie Barton, thank you so much for joining me. It's so great to see you. Where are you right now?
I am in my condo in Atlanta, Georgia.
Lovely. Is this one of many holidays you will have spent in Atlanta, Georgia?
No. This is, I've lived in Atlanta since 2011. And I will say, actually, to be fair, I think I have actually gotten most Christmases back here. There have certainly been a few that have been on the road. For the most part, I've been back here, even if it's only for the day. There have been a couple where that's been the case, but yeah, this is I've been living in this condo since 2015. And literally just before we hopped on this call, my Christmas tree was delivered because I had a moment of realization in October at some point. I was driving down the road and the thought popped in my head of, I get to be home for Christmas this year. I can have a Christmas tree. Like, it just made me so happy that I had to go order one to be delivered. So it just got here.
I love. So tell me about. I've never heard of anybody ordering a Christmas tree to be delivered. Is that a 2020 thing, or has that always been an option that I just never knew of?
I think that's got to be a 2020 thing. I actually one year, probably 2 or 3 years ago, I was able to be home for the vast majority of at least the last half of December, and so with that, I was okay. Well, let's go ahead and start, thinking about getting a Christmas tree. And I was like going on Amazon and looking at all the fake trees because I was like, I can't. I'm a single lady living in my house alone, and I'm on the second floor, and the thought about like having to, go get a tree, strap it to my car, drive it back. I was just like, that. And then one of my besties was like, why don't you check and see if Atlanta has any sort of Christmas tree delivery services? And I was like, that's a great idea. So just so happens I live just up the street from this great delivery that they come. They bring the tree on a truck. It's literally still on the bulb. Like the dirt and roots are still there. They cut the tree from the bulb in the parking lot. They put their own tree stand on it. They carry it up all the way to my place. They set it up. They put water in it. They tell me how to care for it. And then I enjoy it. And then at the end of my enjoyment of it, after I've, had my Christmas time, then I call them again and they come and they get the tree, they take it away, they take their stand, and then they recycle the tree. So
genius.
No-brainer. No-brainer. Like somebody figured out a delivery service for something that I will absolutely use. So yeah.
That's awesome. So is this River's first real Christmas tree, or has she had real Christmas trees in her life? And River is Jamie's cat, for anyone who doesn't know.
I'll go ahead and introduce her because she is sitting in my lap, and I'm sure that at some point you guys will see a tail. This is Riv.
Hi, River. What a pretty baby.
She has a great need. She has a great need in life, and that need is to be in my lap if I'm sitting down. So she will be, sorry, baby. She will be sitting on my lap probably for the vast majority of this, and you'll probably see a little tail sneak up. But no, this is not the first year she's been with a Christmas tree, and certainly not the first year that she's been around a live tree. Thank goodness. She's really very chill around it. She'll get curious, especially with the lights on it. She'll kind of go up under it and look and whatnot, but she tends to leave it alone. That being said, I read Cat Lady Life Hack. I read this thing online that suggested putting cat toys as the bottom ornaments on the tree if you happen to have a cat, so that you can kind of, distract them with things that they're allowed to play with that aren't made of glass or something like that. So I do that, and I will say she will every once in a while just like, little tap it a little bit, just to play with it, but she's never knocked one off. She's actually pretty chill around trees.
So, have you always have had cats in your life? Did you grow up with pets or with a pet cat?
Yes-ish. I grew up on a farm, so for the vast majority of the time, the animals that we had were outdoor animals. We had plenty of cats. In fact, I remember my very first cat's name was Spook, because it was an orange cat that we found somewhere in the month of October. And my birthday is October 17th. So I think my parents, I probably was like, we get to keep this now, right? And my family is probably like, okay, fine, your birthday, whatever. But we didn't really have indoor pets at all. I grew up in a double wide trailer, so we didn't really have the space for pets. And that double wide trailer was on a farm, so we did have the space outside. So most of our pets were definitely outdoor pets. But I guess senior year of high school, senior year of high school, there was a litter of kittens that were birthed outside of, we had a couple of classes that were held in mobile home trailers, and so there was a litter of kittens that was born outside of one of those. So animal control came and they took the mama cat, and then they left the entire litter of kittens sitting in a cage outside of this classroom. Now, I don't know why, but my friend Carrie happened to be interning slash working like a part-time, very small job at a vet clinic. And so she was like, I'm taking this. So she took them back to her house and she found forever homes for them, got them checked up and all of that kind of stuff. And the runt of the litter and I just fell in love. Like, we just decided that we were supposed to be together. And I remember I got that little kitten, put it in a little shoebox. I mean, it was a tiny, tiny, tiny little kitten, and took it home with me. And it was mewing the entire time I was driving. I mean, just freaking out mewing. And so I was shifting the radio stations. That's how old I am. And I got to like this classic radio station that was playing Elvis, and all of a sudden that little kitten just like kind of sat back and like curled up and started purring, and I was like, so your name is Elvis then? Oh. So I had Elvis for about a year probably, and then I went to college. Well, probably more than a year. I lived with my mom for the first year of college, so I had Elvis through then, and then I found another forever home for Elvis because I was going into the dorms and they didn't allow cats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a cat lady. We could spend the entire hour talking about cats, and I'd be so happy.
Was the farm that you grew up on, was that in Georgia?
Mm-hmm. Northwest Georgia, about an hour and a half northwest of Atlanta. Little community. Well, the town that I say I'm from is Rome, Georgia. That is technically where I was born. I was born in the hospital in Rome, Georgia. The community that I grew up in is 20 miles north of that. A little valley that they call the Pocket, because there are two mountains that come together to kind of form a valley pocket, and that's why they call it the Pocket. And so that's where all of my family, most of my family, lived for a very, very long time, and even still, like, people haven't really moved much further than about a 30-mile radius from there, me being the outlier, actually.
So I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming you probably didn't have too many white Christmases in that area.
No, definitely not. And particularly where I grew up, because every once in a while, like Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Atlanta, right? Chattanooga is north of Atlanta. Rome is kind of halfway between that and off of the highway to the west of it. There's something weird about the way weather works in this state, where Atlanta will get snow, but Rome, Georgia won't.
Huh.
And so it's weird. Like Atlanta and Chattanooga will actually get snow, but there's this random like gap of Georgia that just doesn't really pick it up very much. That being said, I definitely have memories of a blizzard in I think 1994, if I'm not mistaken, but it wasn't Christmas. So I can remember maybe one or two where we had some flurries, but like no white Christmas. The average childhood Christmas for me is actually the same Christmas that I have experienced all my life, as long as I've been around my family. So my grandfather, my grandparents lived on the land that my grandfather had gotten. It was about 150 acres, and like his sister lived across the street. Like there was a section of this valley that is the Barton section of the pocket, and so having so much extended family, like every single Sunday, they still like to this day we still get together on Sundays. If I'm home, I go. At this point, it's basically just my aunt and my dad, but get together at my grandparents' house, both of which have passed on. But the house now is still saved as like a family gathering space more so than anything. But every Christmas Eve, we would get together and have our extended family Christmas dinner. Nana would make dinner, which was always basically Thanksgiving again for Christmas Eve.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, nothing wrong with that at all. Usually a lot of extra sweets and stuff like that, but we would get together. There would always be mistletoe that was hung in the door that led from the kitchen into the formal living room. All the kids would sit at the kids' table in the regular living room, which is still where I sit. I'm still one of the kids. It's still where all of my cousins sit too,
Yeah.
Kind of funny because we're all definitely not kids anymore, but that's our place. That's where we go. But we would get together, have dinner. My cousin Candace and my cousin Carrie and I, very often when we were, probably anywhere between the ages of like 5 and 10 individually, would sing Christmas Time's a Comin', which is a song by Emmylou Harris and Dolly Parton, and I can't remember who else. But we would cut instruments out of cardboard. We were like actually singing, but like play strumming the guitars, and we each had a verse. Like it was very structured. We did this every single year for a good like several years, and it was like the time where we would like the whole family would come in and they'd watch us sing this little song, and then after that we'd all open up presents, and it was bringing presents for aunts, uncles, cousins, that kind of thing. For a long time there, it was at night, so the kids, we would all run outside and look for Rudolph going across the sky, watching for a light, which where we happened to live was I'm guessing that there were some like flight patterns from the Atlanta airport that happened to go somewhat close. So we would see like a red or a white light going, and we'd be like, "Oh my gosh, there he is!" Losing it. But that was the extended family thing that like was just every single year.
Do you have memories of any particular Christmas where you had like asked Santa? I don't know if you were a Santa family where you had asked for something and you got it and it was like the best day ever, or a surprise present, or maybe something that someone gave you that was not exactly what you or you had outgrown it, or any memories of special presents?
Definitely, absolutely, 1000%. The memory that comes up when you asked about like me asking for something and I got it. That was the year, and I was probably I would have been out of like believing that Santa was real. Like this I was probably 12ish, 11, 12, somewhere around there. But I asked my parents for my Santa gift to be a stereo, which of course, back in that day, back in like the 90s, having something with a CD player, this would have been the first like CD that I got. In fact, the first CDs that I got were for Christmas that year. Led Zeppelin 2 and Collective Soul.
Yes.
But definitely getting like waking up, because I mean, I'll just say again, like I really did grow up in a not terribly wealthy family at all. So the amount of scrimping and saving that my parents had to do in order to buy a stereo for me, and one that went in like on top of my dresser. We're not talking like a Bose system or anything like that, but
Right.
that was a significant cost for them. But my parents both, I mean, my love of music comes from my parents. I mean, I have wonderful memories of spending time with my mom and dad listening to music, mainly because they listened to LPs, albums for the most part. And growing up in a trailer, you can't walk around the house when you're playing the album, otherwise it'll make it skip. So, a lot of our, a lot of our love of music kind of came from this sitting down with music and enjoying it and listening to it. And so I'm pretty sure that when I said to my parents, yeah, I'd love a stereo, they were like, yes. I think if I were a parent, I would have been like so happy that happened too. But that was like when I woke up on Christmas morning and I saw that, like, it just blew my mind. I think I probably asked for like several things and said, whatever, thinking maybe I'll get one of them. But stereo was like the top of the list, and getting those CDs, oh, I felt so cool. I don't remember asking for this, but I do remember receiving it and being like, is that like after The Little Mermaid came out, I got a Little Mermaid doll that you could pull like the string with the loop on, and it would say something like, like say something back to you. But I had a Little Mermaid doll. Like, how freaking cool. Like, this is from a family that like we didn't have like Nintendo and Sega and all that stuff. Like, they just couldn't afford that kind of stuff. So like these gifts that probably didn't cost a bunch to people who made regular paychecks, what just meant the world to me and my little brother, because they were few and far between. So that was definitely, I think that was a surprise. I don't think that I had asked for that. I think that my parents probably found that and were like, okay, we can afford it, let's do it. Now I say this to one of my nieces and she's always like, she's not a princess, but I always say that my favorite Disney princess is actually Ursula.
Don't underestimate the importance of money.
Maybe it's one of my dream roles, and I might bring a little bit of Ursula into my Yeji Baba every time I get to do it.
Do you have any decorations that have come with you from when you were little, like any ornaments that now you've got, or did you kind of leave that all with your mom and dad?
For the most part, they're with my mom. That being said, every single Christmas, it was my Christmas ornament that I hung was the little girl whose name I cannot remember, from the Nutcracker story.
Clara,
you're totally right. Yep, that's it. That's absolutely it. And it was just this beautiful little wooden ornament. And we had several different characters from the Nutcracker, but that was the one that I wanted to hang, and so that was like my job. And so a couple of years ago, my mom gave me that one to be able to have with my Christmas tree here, which is, I would say, probably like the most traditional ornament that I have. adult Jamie Christmas tree is way less traditional than what I started my childhood, for sure.
What is your least traditional ornament? Can you tell us?
That's a good question. I do have a tree topper that is a star from Mario.
Oh,
Like,
cute!
yeah,
Cute.
like it's the cartoon star from the Mario Nintendo kind of thing. I also have a Merry Resistimus with RBG on it, which I'm looking
Yes.
I'm hanging that on front and center this year in honor of her.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I actually, okay, this one's probably controversial, but I have a lovely, beautiful felt kind of teardrop ornament that I got off of Etsy. Which is actually, if you look at it, you figure out that it's a vagina, or I say a labia. And on the back it says, Chris, don't forget Christmas was, started with, a birth, and so
Yeah.
it's celebrating. I actually love that it's celebrating women. It's celebrating the power of, what this natural power that we have to create life.
Yeah,
Which
I
I
love
kind of
that.
loved when I saw that.
When it comes to like baking or cooking for the holidays, do you have anything that you like have to make every year, or something that a friend or relative always makes and sends you, or anything like that?
My mom, actually, she does these cookies, which I'm so glad that they're basically brown sugar meringue cookies.
Ooh, yum.
Yeah, so like if you think of, you go to Trader Joe's, you can get like those little little tubs of meringues, like individual
Yeah.
meringues. These are basically like that. It's a meringue little cookie, but it's comprised of brown sugar, egg whites, and pecans, which I'm so glad of, because as it turns out later in life, I'm allergic to wheat, so I can't actually
Oh,
yeah, so I can't really actually do the regular like cookie kind of thing, and I'm so glad this is one of the things that survived the wheat allergy.
so if you close your eyes and think about your grandparents' house on Christmas Eve, give me like a tour. Like, what does the house look like?
Well, it's a small house. It was big to me when I was a kid because, like I said, double wide trailer. But it's looking on it now. It's probably, gosh, I'm literally right now on camera. You just saw me realize that my condo is about the size of their house. Wow. That's mind blowing, actually. And my condo is like a little under 1,500 square feet. So
Yeah.
it's not like a huge, ginormous thing. It's tall ceilings, which makes it look a lot bigger than it is. But it's a small house. It was a house that was built by my grandfather and
Oh,
my
wow.
dad, and my uncle. So yeah, there's this carport which nary a car has ever ported in. It's always kind of just been this like gathering space for my family. Like even still, like there's chairs out there that my aunts and uncles tend to go out there and smoke and sit and talk and that kind of thing. But you go inside the house and the first thing you encounter is just like a little laundry room. But then once you move beyond that, the kitchen is right there. And then you go into the living room. If you move to the left, the formal living room was where my nana always decorated for Christmas. So that's where the tree would be. That's where just the little knickknacks that would be out. She would have a poinsettia on the formal dining table. Formal dining table, which sat 6, so it also wasn't a huge table. But there was a piano in there. It's actually, when I was a kid, my grandparents purchased a piano because I was starting to take piano lessons and I needed a place to practice.
Oh.
And so they purchased a used upright piano, and so that's still in there. And usually that's covered in, little Christmas things, candles and like ribbons and stuff like that. But that's kind of literally the front portion of it. Like if you're looking at the front of the house, that length of the house, that is basically the formal living room. On the other side of the wall from that, past the kitchen, is like the actual living room, like where we actually live, like
Yeah. Right.
there's the fireplaces in there.
Is that where the kids' table was?
Oh yeah. The kitchen table was the kids' table, basically. And now at this point, there's like the grown-up room, which is the formal one, the kitchen table, which is my generation, and then there's like a card table that we fold down for all of the actual kids that are there. That front room, actually, my family, we have a big bluegrass tradition in our both neighborhood and also within the family. And I have wonderful pictures I was just looking through the other day of us playing Christmas music one year. And I can't play a stringed instrument to save my life at all. But
only the cardboard ones.
Exactly.
Everybody gets their instruments. Jamie's still there with her scissors, cutting out her guitar.
Absolutely. But yeah, I could pick along on the piano and sing, and that was basically my talent.
Yeah, you think? Were you a Christmas like outfit family? Was it like, did you put on your best clothes for Christmas, or was it like comfy, cozy Christmas? What was kind of the
the
vibe?
Comfy, cozy. When I was much younger, and we would go to like Christmas things at our church, then like the Christmas outfit was as important as the Easter outfit. Like it was a whole thing. I actually do remember having some sort of like dress where the top was made of probably velour. It wasn't velvet. I know it wasn't velvet, but like probably a velour of some sort. And then the bottom, was silver lame. Oh,
yes!
God. And my cousin Candace had the one that was it was a black top. So it was the black velour up top and gold lame. And we looked like the Christmas gifts that year. Oh, we were the gift of everyone around us. I mean, I felt like I was on cloud nine fashion wise. It was one of the few times I can look back and think, I felt like I was on cloud nine fashion wise.
As difficult as times probably were, and you said you were in a double wide trailer, and like that's not like the McMansions that some people grew up in, and things like that. But it does also sound like the community was very real and that you still have it. And that is what is so huge for all of us, is like when we look back on these childhood memories, there's some things that are not glamorous. There's other things that are really dear to us. But to have those people still in our lives is something that we cannot take for granted, because not everybody has that,
Absolutely. We didn't have monetary riches at all. We had a lot of struggles, but that being said, we were just rich. We were rich when it came to our community support, the church support, our family support. There was no shortage of love. And that to me made all the difference. I didn't have, I say, I grew up in a double wide trailer. I grew up with, in a pretty poor family. And those are facts. They're actually just, those are facts. But those facts didn't make my childhood any less beautiful than I feel I was very, very lucky to have. I mean, truly, I know a lot of people who came from a lot, I find it more financial stability than where I came from, who had a lot harder than where I came from, because they didn't have that kind of love and support. And I'm telling you, even to this day, I go back up there and people wave at me if I pass them on the road, or they still, I haven't lived there. I've let's see, I'm 39 now. I'm coming up very, very soon on having lived outside of that valley for way longer than I have had lived in it. But that being said, I'm still part of the community. Like, they still check in on me, send me birthday cards, and ask about me on phone calls and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a really kind of idyllic place to grow up, for sure.
Well, and I feel like from what you've shared and everything you just said, like that support and that care and that love is your through line, because like we all see that in you. Like that's what comes out of you, you know. Like what went in is coming out, and that's so beautiful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate this.
Yeah.
That's my hope, at least on my better days.
Well, Jamie, before we say goodbye, I wanted to know what song you would like to hear today and who you would like to dedicate it to.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to preemptively thank whoever did this, because I know that I had an amazingly fun time getting to do the song that I did. And so I want to just thank preemptively. But the song that I requested was Away in a Manger for my dad, because I have just such wonderful memories of listening to the Emmylou Harris Light of the Stable album with my parents. It's one of my favorite albums. It was just like Christmas tradition every single year to listen to that, and the Away in a Manger that she does is just so beautiful, and I always think of my dad when I hear it. So yeah.
All right. Well, Jamie, here is Away in a Manger for your dad.
Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Ann Best and I'm coming to you from Rochester, New York. I'm so grateful that my friend Emily decided to have all of us share some wonderful music, and that we were able to share pieces that mean something to us and to choose something to sing for people that we love so much. So here is Away in a Manger, and this is dedicated to Jamie Barton and her dad. I learned the Emmylou Harris version and I got to sing a duet with myself. And Jamie, I can see how wonderful this must have been for you when you were growing up. So please enjoy, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everybody.
I'm so excited.
The stars in the bright sky look down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay. The cattle are lowing, the baby awakes. The little Lord Jesus, no crying he makes. I love thee, Lord Jesus, look down from the sky and stay by my cradle till morning is nigh.
My gosh. Oh, I can't believe she learned that version, which is an alternate version of that original hymn tune, one that I grew up with. I literally have an LP of this that I'm going to listen to tonight, because this is striking off Christmas for me. Like, oh my gosh, what a gift. Like, I cannot wait for the day I get to meet her in person. The first thing that will happen is that I will give her a hug around her neck for having done something as beautiful as that. When I send this to my dad, he's gonna be in tears. I'm in tears right now. Thank you so much, Jess. That was really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. And I feel inspired now to listen to some of the music you talked about that I don't know. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna kick things off and listen to some new music. And thanks so much for talking to me and sharing all your memories and being a part of this project. I know that you moved so many people to by being part of it. So Merry Christmas to you and to your whole family in the pocket and to River.
Thank you to Lou as well, and thank you so much for thinking of this project. I think it's a beautiful idea and is already bringing Christmas cheer in so many people. So
All right, well, take care, Jamie, and I hope that we see each other in person soon.
same.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me once again for tonight's episode of Fonzie After 5, and a special thank you to Jamie Barton and Jessica Ann Best. Jamie, I hope you enjoy decorating your freshly delivered tree. I can just imagine you hanging your little Clara ornament on it for the first time. Jess, thank you for your absolutely beautiful music. A little disclaimer, I'm having some work done on my chimney. You know, I have to make sure Santa can get down, and Lupita is defending the castle. So my apologies for the barking, but she's just doing her job. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and remember, it's after 5 somewhere. Fonzie